Welcome to Hollywood Information. In this video, we're going to take you back to the golden age of Hollywood, a time when fame was everything and some stars would do absolutely anything to reach the top. From risky stunts to scandalous publicity schemes to completely reinventing themselves, these 20 legendary actors prove that the road to stardom wasn't always paved with glamour. 1. Marilyn Monroe, the ultimate Hollywood icon, wasn't always the blonde bombshell we know today. Born Norma Jean Mortensen, she endured a rough childhood filled with foster homes and instability. Determined to escape her struggles, she reinvented herself from head to toe, dyeing her hair platinum blonde, changing her voice to that sultry tone, and perfecting her innocent yet seductive image. Behind the camera, Marilyn carefully studied every aspect of fame. She posed for dozens of photographers, even allowing nude photos early in her career, a bold and controversial move in the 1940s, all to attract attention. And it worked. Within a few years, she became the face of Hollywood desire. But Marilyn's transformation came at a cost. She battled insecurities, loneliness, and the pressure of living up to her own image. 2. James Dean, he was so desperate to make an impression that he lived his public image. Wild, reckless, and unpredictable, both on and off the screen. Dean famously pushed boundaries on set, breaking directors' rules, improvising lines, and sometimes refusing to follow scripts. He cultivated a mysterious aura, giving interviews that made him sound deep and misunderstood. This wasn't by accident. Dean wanted to be seen as the brooding outsider. Tragically, his method worked too well. His death in a car crash at just 24 cemented his legend forever. 3. Joan Crawford, born into poverty. She worked as a waitress and dancer before catching her first big break. Crawford was obsessed with fame. She trained tirelessly, studied the movements of other stars, and even had her teeth capped and face reshaped for the camera. She would personally call gossip columnists to plant stories about herself. Behind the scenes, she fought bitterly with rivals like Bette Davis, even sabotaging co-stars to maintain her stardom. Joan Crawford truly lived by one rule: never let anyone outshine you. For Clark Gable, he was originally told his ears were too big and his speech too rough. Determined to prove everyone wrong, Gable took acting lessons, speech training, and even had dental work to improve his smile. That he networked aggressively, dating influential women and mingling with producers who could open doors. His persistence paid off when MGM signed him, and soon, his rugged charm defined masculinity in the 1930s and 40s. Clark Gable was proof that charisma and determination could rewrite destiny. 5. Judy Garland, at just 13, she signed with MGM, with a studio tightly controlled her image. They made her diet constantly, gave her energy pills to stay awake and sleeping pills to rest. The pressure to stay thin and perfect became unbearable. Judy once said, "They took my childhood away." But she kept going, giving unforgettable performances in The Wizard of Oz and A Star is Born. Her tragic struggle with addiction and mental health was the dark price she paid for eternal fame. 6. Errol Flynn, the charismatic star of Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood, knew how to make headlines, even for the wrong reasons. He cultivated a bad boy reputation intentionally, throwing wild parties and getting involved in multiple scandals that kept him in the spotlight. Flynn famously said, "It isn't what they say about you, it's what they whisper." He lived by that motto, and though his career often teetered on the edge of ruin, he remained one of Hollywood's most talked about stars. 7. Bette Davis, in an age when studios owned their actors, Davis fought back. She sued Warner Brothers for the right to choose better scripts, a move that could have ended her career. But she refused to settle for mediocrity, stating, "I'd rather fight for a good part than play a bad one." Her fearless defiance not only made her a legend, but also paved the way for future actors to demand creative freedom. Fame, for Bette, was something you earned, even if it meant fighting the system. 8. Humphrey Bogart, but off-screen, Bogart was nothing like his characters. Early in his career, he was typecast as a villain or second-rate actor. Tired of rejection, Bogart leaned into the tough guy stereotype. He smoked, spoke bluntly, and made sure every appearance reinforced his gritty charm. That'd be why controlling his image so perfectly, Bogart became the ultimate anti-hero and Hollywood's most unlikely romantic lead. 9. Greta Garbo. In an era when studios pushed stars into constant publicity, Garbo refused interviews, rarely attended events, and barely spoke about her private life. Ironically, her silence made her even more fascinating. Garbo's famous line, "I want to be alone," became her trademark. Behind the scenes, it was all carefully calculated. She understood that mystery was her most powerful tool. Her withdrawal from Hollywood at her peak only made her legend grow. 10. Charlie Chaplin. He didn't just act. He wrote, directed, edited, and scored his own films. He would shoot hundreds of takes for a single scene, driving studios and co-stars crazy. But Chaplin knew that only perfection would make him unforgettable. His blend of humor and pathos in The Tramp turned him into the first global movie superstar. He once said, "A day without laughter is a day wasted." For Chaplin, making the world laugh was worth any cost. 11. Elizabeth Taylor. From a young age, she was thrust into the spotlight, but it was her personal life, her marriages, affairs, and diamond-studded lifestyle that kept her on the front page. When the Vatican condemned her relationship with Richard Burton as erotic vagrancy, she didn't hide. She used it. Taylor knew that scandal sold, and she became Hollywood's most talked-about woman, proving that fame could thrive even in chaos. 12. Cary Grant. Transformation from Archie Leach, a poor boy from Bristol, England, to Hollywood's most elegant man was pure reinvention. He crafted a persona of charm and sophistication so believable that even he once said, "Everyone wants to be Cary Grant. Even I want to be Cary Grant." Grant studied his voice, posture, and wardrobe until perfection. He built a fantasy version of himself, and the world adored it. 13. Rita Hayworth. Born Margarita Cancino, she was told her Spanish features were too ethnic for Hollywood. The studio changed her name, dyed her hair red, and even had her undergo painful electrolysis to raise her hairline and appear more American. The transformation worked, and Rita became one of the most glamorous stars of the 1940s. Yet she later admitted, "Men fall in love with Gilda, but wake up with me." She had become trapped by the very image that made her famous. 14. Orson Welles. At just 25, he directed Citizen Kane, revolutionizing filmmaking. But Welles wasn't content with ordinary fame. He wanted total control. He demanded final cut privileges, rewrote scripts without permission, and clashed with executives constantly. Though his arrogance cost him studio support later, his obsession with artistic control cemented him as one of cinema's great innovators. Fame, for Welles, meant legacy, not popularity. 15. Lana Turner was discovered at Soda Shop, but the truth is more strategic. Turner was ambitious. She frequented places where agents scouted new faces and made sure she always looked camera-ready. When an agent finally noticed her, she was prepared. Her scandalous roles and real-life romances kept her name buzzing. Lana understood that being seen, anywhere, anytime, was half the battle in Hollywood. 16. Marlon Brando brought method acting to mainstream cinema, and his intensity was unmatched. He immersed himself so deeply into roles that directors often found him impossible to control. Brando would intentionally defy studio executives, wear messy clothes, and show up late, all to build his bad boy genius image. But his unpredictable behavior was part of his fame strategy. Brando blurred the line between rebellion and art, ensuring the world never forgot him. 17. Jean Harlow. Harlow's rise to fame was powered by bold choices. She bleached her hair to a shocking white blonde shade, wore provocative gowns, and became the first woman in Hollywood to truly weaponize sex appeal. Studio marketers called her the Platinum Blonde, and her films made headlines for their daring themes. Jean Harlow wasn't just acting. She was creating the blueprint for the modern sex symbol. 18. Rock Hudson. In an era when homosexuality was taboo, his studio crafted a hyper-masculine image for him, pairing him with female co-stars for publicity dates and fake romances. Hudson played along, knowing his career depended on it. Behind the smiles, he lived a double life, proving how far stars had to go to protect their fame. Decades later, his story became a symbol of Hollywood's hidden struggles. 19. Mae West was one of the boldest stars of her time, and she used controversy as her weapon. Before film, she wrote and starred in stage plays that were so provocative they got her arrested. But that scandal made her famous, and Hollywood came calling. Her witty double entendres and unapologetic sexuality shocked audiences, and they loved it. West famously said, "When I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better." She mastered the art of turning outrage into attention. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood's golden legends, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Hollywood Information for more incredible stories from the silver screen. Until next time.